Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Courtney and I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark and eBay. If you're not new, thanks so much for coming back. It always means the world to me. So I'm here today with another bins video, but this time it's kind of different. It's just me sharing, if you saw in the title, why I think everyone should try the bins and try it maybe a couple times. So if you don't know what the bins are, the Goodwill bins are also, I think, technically called the Goodwill outlets. Many major cities have a place where if things don't sell in a store, or maybe they have too many donations to process, things end up in these big blue bins and you get to kind of dig through and pay per pound. It is important to note that not all bins are created equal. There's different pricing structures, there's different rules, unwritten rules, all of that good stuff, but there tends to be a common theme of giant blue bins, pay per pound. So why am I making this video? I am a reseller. I've been reselling since July of 2018. I have sold over 1,300 items, mostly on Poshmark, but I did start eBay earlier this year and I'm having some good success there. I went full-time in November of 2018 and I'm really trying to ramp up my business, my inventory, and strategize. And one of the strategies for me is lowering my cost of goods. And what better way to do that than the Goodwill bins? So I just wanted to share a little bit about two parts, my experience, my journey with the Goodwill bins, and also at the end, just 10 tips on what I've kind of picked up or what I kind of think of when since I've been going. So if you are a reseller or just like reselling content and you aren't already subscribed, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button down below or check out my other videos. And if you enjoy this video, let me know. Hit the thumbs up. It lets me know that I should maybe think of more similar videos. So first off, I just want to share why this video is important to me. When I started reselling, I binge watched a lot of YouTube videos, as I'm sure a lot of people do, and there's so much great content out there. But I've since realized that not all content or suggestions or advice or thoughts, opinions are the best or for me. And I think everyone is fair to create their own business or has the right to create their own business and share their experience on YouTube if they have a channel. But one of the things that I saw quite a bit of when I started was kind of these scary videos or these scare tactics around the Goodwill bins. I would watch a bins haul. Shout out to the bin pickers. I think they were one of the first ones that I watched around the Goodwill bins. Love their videos and they find great stuff. And then I would go and explore some more and I would see these videos of my first time at the bins and oh my gosh, the horror, and I will never go back to the bins. And I am a little bit of a neat freak. I like organization. I'm introverted. I do not like big crowds. Basically, I'm everything that shouldn't like the Goodwill bins. And so I would watch these videos and I just look back and I'm bummed. I'm bummed that I took those videos to heart and didn't give it a try myself. Now, I understand people want to make different content on YouTube, but I just wanted to put out a video that's a bit more of a positive spin because we all can have bad experiences at really any establishment. Retail, regular thrift stores, restaurants, traveling, airlines, I mean, you name it, there's bad experiences pretty much everywhere and with every brand. And I guess I just kind of zoned in on the negative just out of fear. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I would have tried the bins a little bit sooner. So I believe I went to the bins for the first time in December of 2018. Again, I probably would have gone 3 months before if I hadn't seen some of these scary videos. But why do I go? Why is it important? Value is number one. There are not many places that you can consistently go every day of the week and from open to close and every single item is cheap. And so for me, it's not having to wait until the weekends for yard sales or not having to wait until a Thursday for a dollar day on one color of the week. It is great value all the time. The second reason I really like it is I can pick up things that I would never look for in a thrift store because it just happens to be there. I pick up kids' clothes occasionally. I just picked up a really cute Patagonia kids item. I never go to the kids section. I picked up some vintage scarves. I've never gone to the scarf section in any thrift store, and those cost me less than $2 for all of them, and half of them have sold and brought in about $400, I think, so far. So the fact that I can pick up random things, hard goods occasionally because they're fun and I'm testing those out, I just love the fact that it's all kind of mixed together and I just get to find or pick up random things. The third reason I really like it is the community of resellers. I haven't found any other place. I think eBay Open and PoshFest are a community of resellers, but I haven't found any other place that are not put on by a organization that allows reselling, where you get to basically be surrounded by them. And yes, I think there's different people, like in our area, some of the people are taking it to other countries, or actually shopping for their family or friends. Maybe they're sourcing for their brick and mortar businesses, but a lot of people are selling on a platform online. They're reselling. And it's just been so fun to kind of see familiar faces and have the little wave or the little nod, or someone says, hey, do you want this? Or, hey, I found this single shoe, I've got to go, do you want it? There's just a sense of community that I can't find anywhere else. Thrift stores are, I do occasionally see regular or resellers, but not everyone in the store. And it's encouraged. Even the employees are like, oh, where do you sell? So it's fun for me to see that community. And the fourth reason I really like it is the workout. I mean, it can be intense. I typically, because I drive about 2.5 hours each way, I have to make a full day of it. I get there open, I pretty much stay until close, and it is a very long, hard day of backbreaking work. You're on your feet, you're moving stuff, sometimes heavy stuff around, and it's a workout. But it just means I don't have to deal with my weeds that day or go for a run or a hike or something that I get a good workout in. So that just makes me feel healthy that day. So I also wanted to note the bins might not be for everyone. And the point of this video is not to say it should be the best sourcing for everyone, but that hopefully people give it not just one try, but maybe a couple tries, maybe a couple different locations, and give it a fair shot. Because I think if you ask my sisters, for example, to go to a regular thrift store, they won't. They are, they like organization too. They like neat, and even thrift stores are too much for them. So I know the bins might be too much for some people, but for me, I overcame that fear, and it's just turned out to be a really great thing for myself and my mom, who also goes with me pretty often down there. And so it's not an age thing. She also gets a good workout. We just really enjoy it, and I think we're happy we finally tried it. So just to jump into some of the tips and things that I've learned, as I said, go more than once is my number one tip. If you go once and you don't have a great experience or it's too much, I get it. It's a different environment. And there are people that I think it's a territory thing. There are people that go every day. And so when they see a new face, they're like, who are you? But it didn't take long before people are kind of waving or nodding or kind of smiling. I think that what I've realized is most people are looking for different things than I am, or selling on different platforms than I am. And so they'll literally pass up a, great item that's worth hundreds. And I'm just like, wow, okay, thank you. So I think that it's, it takes a few times, or at least it did for me, to really kind of get my groove. Bring a friend or bring a family member is probably the other element of that. If you are new and you can bring someone with you, try to, because even if they aren't a reseller, even if they're just sitting somewhere nearby, it's someone to kind of just go back to, or if it is a reseller or someone who wants to resell, ask for their opinion. It just gives you a little bit more, I think, courage to go. And so, I think my mom and I going together are always better than when we go separately, just because we have that other person to kind of check in on, talk to in between rotations, etc. The second tip I have is when you go, maybe the first time or first couple times, watch what other people are doing and ask questions. I'm not saying ask questions of people there because that might get annoying. Ask questions of the employees. There are rules, there are unwritten rules, there are things that are different at different locations. Some locations, everyone parks their cart and you can spot a new person when they're pushing it through the aisles. At ours specifically, there's areas on the sides or the perimeter of the building where you can park your cart, meaning leave it there. You take your bag, you go dig through bins, and then you go dump your stuff. So I don't think that's the same. I think my mom has been to a couple where they actually can push them through, but at ours, it's too narrow, it's not safe, people can't get by, so we park carts. If you're worried about items, I have only had one time where my stuff got thrown back, and technically at that location, it wasn't commonplace for people to run out and grab something for lunch. Lesson learned, some places people will keep an eye on your cart while you go grab a bite to eat. And again, it's different at each location, and I'm not encouraging one thing or the other. Ask some employees, hey, can I leave my cart while I go and grab something to eat? Maybe they say no. Maybe they have a long line or a long wait for carts, and that's just really terrible to do to other people, in which case, put it back and then come back and then just do the bag thing. So, I think it took me probably months before I'm still learning a new rule. Like recently I learned fabric is not per pound, it's per piece, which would have saved me a little bit of money knowing that before when I bought some fabric. So I think just asking questions to employees is not bad, and also observing others. What are they doing? And that might be the culture that they have there. The third tip is avoid the chaos if you can or want to. So if you notice at a lot of bins, they bring out a new rotation of bins. Typically, at least at ours, you aren't supposed to start touching in that line of bins until they say okay, or until all of them are in place. And then you'll see people kind of going crazy. The craziness is just people are looking for something. There's a group of guys that we always see that are always looking for vintage t-shirts, and they can spot a vintage t-shirt like nobody's business, and that's what they're after. They don't care about anything else. With that, I found really great stuff not being in that first rotation or not being in that chaos. Going and looking through bins that are picked over and people have already, they're half empty or almost empty, and there's a designer piece or there's a cute Madewell piece or something like that. So for me, there are days that I'm okay going into the chaos. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the workout and just the thrill of it all. And there's a lot of days where I just sit back and I'm always a few rotations behind or a few lines behind. So I don't think that you can't find good stuff unless you're in that. So do what's comfortable for you. And yeah. The fourth tip is bring a cell phone battery charger. If you're like me and you're planning to go all day, maybe you're not, maybe you just want to stop in for a few hours. If you're going all day, a little battery pack is super helpful. I play music. I like to zone out, and it helps me kind of just stay focused and have a little bit of a beat while I'm going through the bins, digging through the bins. So my phone dies, and that's never great because you kind of need your phone to check comps for either some or all items. That's another thing I don't think I wrote down. It's okay to look up every item at the bins. I did, and still look up often items that I've never sold just to see if that specific item from a brand or if that brand is new to me. People look up comps there all the time, and it's easy to do from your phone. But that cell phone battery pack, if you're going to be staying for quite a bit of the day, is really helpful. My fifth tip is stay as long as you can. I think I had a bins versus store video that I did 2 hours at stores, 2 hours at the bins, and that was the only bins versus stores where I would prefer the stores, is if it was less than 2 hours. The reason is it takes me a couple hours before I get enough things where I feel like, okay, this is gonna be worth the work. The first 30 minutes to an hour, yeah, every once in a while I'll be like, oh, here's 5 things that I want in the first 15 minutes. That's rare. Most of the time it takes me a good hour to 2 hours before I have a little collection of things in my cart that I'm excited about. So stay as long as you can. And if it's overwhelming, that's totally fine, but go back and maybe stay a little bit longer, because each time you stay a little bit longer, I think you might find that you'll walk away with a lot more good stuff. And the sixth thing, bring lots of reusable bags and different types, different sizes. Bring one for carrying on your shoulder. I did make a bag. I'll link it down below if you would like to purchase one to support the channel. That's what I use a lot of times just to carry around the bins. It's not very big, so it doesn't get too heavy, which is nice when I'm actually putting stuff in my bag. The IKEA bags can tend to weigh down my shoulder when I fill them up. So I use the IKEA bags and kind of the lightweight or reusable, any plastic bag that are light to keep my cart organized. And yeah, so bring a lot. And it's helpful to sort things in your cart. Maybe a yes pile, maybe a maybe pile, maybe a need to review and see if there's any damage pile. So I just like to keep a lot of reusable bags, and you can carry them out, the ones that you don't have to use to check out. The 7th, I think this is number 7, tip is bag up your stuff before the register. So a lot of these lightweight bags aren't going to add a lot in cost, and it is so much easier to have your stuff in 3, 4, 5 bags where you can take them out of the cart and walk out to your car instead of standing at the aisle where other people are kind of checking out as well. It's super easy. I also separate my hard goods versus my soft goods. And that is, at our bins, they're different prices. The register people are so appreciative when you do that. It just makes things much smoother and easier for anyone waiting behind you. So definitely recommend to, if you have different pricing on hard goods and soft goods, separate them out, keep them in bags. If you use the really lightweight bags, it's not going to cost much, and it just makes it really easy for yourself. The eighth tip would be bring or wear whatever makes you feel comfortable. So I don't wear gloves unless it's hard goods. I do wear gloves. I'll link them down below, the ones that I use that are super easy to go through any hard goods bin, which there can be broken glass and stuff like that. So it's kind of a safety thing, but I do not wear gloves for clothing. I know that sometimes there's maybe something damp because it was raining the day before or whatever. But I'm going to be washing my hands a lot that day anyways. And there's germs everywhere. So I like to feel the fabrics, and that's sometimes how I can determine if something is maybe something worth looking up or looking at the label. You can bring gloves if you'd like for clothing or hard goods or both. You can bring a mask. So sometimes it can get dusty at least in hours, and some people wear masks just to kind of keep the dust out. But I've never worn one. My locations allow you to bring a foldable chair, and you can carry it out and carry it in. This may not be the same for every place, so you may ask or see if other people are doing it. But we do bring a chair, and it's really helpful when you're looking at comps to just take a seat, especially if you're there all day. Water, that's really helpful, because it's a workout. And I think most of them do sell waters and snacks and stuff like that, but it's just easier to bring it in. Hand sanitizer, sometimes they run out of soap in the bathroom, like any establishment. So hand sanitizer is nice to have. Snacks, if you're not going to go and get a bite to eat, you might want to bring some snacks with you. Headphones, my number one. I am such a music person, and it just really puts me in a zone and lets me focus. So I do personally really like headphones. I chew gum all the time. And again, it just kind of gets me into, I'm moving, I'm grooving, that type of thing. 2 other things that maybe not everyone knows about: a Tide stick. We bring a Tide stick. If you find something that has maybe a stain, put the Tide stick on, let it sit there for an hour or 2 before you check out. Is the stain gone? You're gonna grab it. If it's not, how valuable is it? You wanna maybe try and get the stain out when you're at home. So it has helped us, and I think we'll continue bringing it. And the last, actually, I think the Tide stick was a tip from Akil McLeod. I'll link his channel below. I don't think he goes to the Goodwill bins, but I do think he was the one that said he brings a Tide stick with him. So shout out to him and that tip. It's helpful. And the last thing that you might want to bring is a flashlight. The lighting is terrible. If you want to see maybe if there's a stain, get better lighting. That hasn't been as successful with us, but we still bring it. So the 9th tip is around carts. So this is I can't tell you how many times I see with someone pushing a cart and they can't get through because there are 2 people at bins. At our locations, you don't push them through aisles while you're shopping. It's not I don't even think it's a technical rule. Maybe it is, but you can leave it at the ends of the bins occasionally. maybe not there because they might be moving in and out of bins. Again, I would just ask your location, where do I put my cart? Where do I keep it? What do people, or what are we supposed to do? And they'll usually tell you the designated areas, or if you're supposed to push it around with you if they have more space. The 10th thing is, and the last tip is, check for flaws. This is any thrift store, but there might be a reason that it didn't end up at a regular store. It might have more flaws. Now, some of it is worth it. I've gotten stains out. I've hemmed a little, a little minor issue, but I do take extra time before checking out to really look, hold things up against lighting, and really just kind of give a good look to all the items so that it minimizes the items that I get home and I'll need to redonate. So with that, that's just my journey and experience with the Goodwill bins. I really want there to be a lot of great experiences out there. And if it's not for you after you've tried it a few times, totally understandable. If you're so frightened and you just really can't even prepare yourself for the thought of it, I understand. But I'm just really, I wish I would have gone sooner, and I wish I would have seen more positive videos on, yeah, there can be a bug. There could be, I think Denali's seen a dead mouse. I haven't seen much of that stuff. I think I've seen a bug. Yeah, there's been some damp clothes. There are smells. There are smells in regular thrift stores that are very unpleasant. So just keeping it real, yeah, it's, you might encounter some strange people, and some really nice people, and some really, there are some women that will come sometimes and they are dressed to the T, and I'm just like, wow, you've got your pumps on, you've got your suit on, you are looking for treasures, and it's just the cutest thing ever. I just like the diversity of people. So I just hope that everyone gives it a shot. And if you have any bins tips, definitely leave them down below that have worked for you. I would love to learn, and I think other people like seeing those comments as well. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up on your way out, and I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.